Hey folks, everything new under the sun. This is a longevity chart from Adam to Joseph. And I want to talk about the three Abrahamic faiths or religions. And we're going to talk through them. We're going to discover what they are. And a fourth one, you know of three. There's a fourth one in there too that was new to me. But we're taking a look at this chart. This is from Kent Hovind's Dr. Dino site. I purchased this, and you can go to drdino.com and purchase this same one. I got a nice laminated one for my wall and for my kids to look at. But what it does is it charts out the longevity from Adam all the way to Jacob. So Adam on the top left, all the way to Jacob in the bottom right. Now, there's some interesting things about this. So you notice year zero, or when God created Adam and Eve in the garden, that was about 4,000 years before Christ, BC. The flood happened at about 1656 BC there. You can see along the very top is the years from year zero, effectively. Now, interestingly, Adam lived 930 years, and then Seth lived 912, and Enoch lived 905. So they were living nearly 1,000 years of age, nearly 1,000 years of age prior to the flood. So something was quite a lot different. One thing that's interesting is you look at Enoch there, and that is, I can't point to it, but it's just below Jared there. Enoch, he lived to be 365 years. And of course, what's interesting about Enoch is that he was raptured. So you see above the Noah label there, Noah, Lamech in the middle, Methuselah, and then Enoch. So 365 years he lived. And the interesting thing is that he was raptured. He walked with the Lord, and then he was not. So he was he was the first example of a rapture type event for a believer. He had faith in the Lord, and he was raptured out before any destruction came. Now notice that he was raptured out. You can't see it, but it shows year 987. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know how close or how accurate this chart is in terms of numbers, but it suggests that he was taken out of there about 13 years prior to the 1,000 year turnover into the new millennium. So I thought that was interesting. He was raptured before the millennium. We are also raptured before the millennial reign of Christ. So, and again, I thought that was interesting. The other thing to know about this is that Noah, right in the center there, and let me just zoom in. There's a closer look of Enoch there, and then Noah. So Noah actually was able to know Adam. If you go right up from the start of Noah, you'll see that it overlaps with Adam. So he knew directly Adam. He was able to ask Adam about the Garden of Eden. And about what life was like at the start, etc. Noah then lived, obviously, through the flood until after the flood. And Noah lived 950 years. So he was kind of one of the last to live almost 1,000 years of age. And then after that, you can see the lifespans of the people dropped off dramatically. 600 years for Shem, Arphaxad, 438 years rather. Selah, 433 years. Peleg, he only lived 239 years. And it goes all the way down to Abraham, who lived 175 years, and then down to Joseph at 110 years. And so we're hovering, about anywhere from 70 to 110 years is kind of the lifespan that we can expect, and that's the way it's been for the last 4,000 years, effectively. So that's pretty interesting about this chart. Some things to note. So Noah directly knew Adam, which is interesting to think about. Abraham knew Noah directly. So you look at Abraham, the start of his name, bottom right corner, and you see that he overlapped with Noah up there for many years, a couple hundred years it appears, and so they were able to talk directly. Abraham was able to ask Noah about Adam, who Noah knew directly, so I think that's a pretty fascinating sort of thing to consider. And the thing about this chart is that overall, what you can do with it is you can calculate all the years from the beginning of creation, all the way up to Joseph, and then with historical documents, you can calculate backwards, and what you come up with is about 6,000 years of man. Now, the first 2,157 years of history are covered by just three men, and their lives overlap: Adam, Methuselah. So you see Methuselah here, and he lived 969 years, the oldest person to ever live, at least as recorded in the Bible. So Adam, Methuselah, and Shem. So these people, let me go down to this one, these three people overlapped each other and covered 2,157 years of history, just those three. Pretty amazing things, and a lot of knowledge as well would have transferred by Noah, by Shem, through Noah's family, from prior to the flood until after the flood. A lot of knowledge about ancient technology and other very interesting things. So, of course, we talk about Abraham in these last days as it relates to Bible prophecy. The three Abrahamic religions, the setup in or the push for the world to bring the three Abrahamic religions together, the three monotheistic religions, to bring them all together and make a house of worship for all of them, and to have peace between them all. Because after all, we worship the same God, right? This is what they say. Well, let's take a look at the three Abrahamic religions. Judaism. Judaism is the oldest of the four Abrahamic religions and is the religion of which the other three religions are founded. The Judaism religion is a religion which encompasses the cultural, philosophical, and religious beliefs of Jewish people. Judaism has an estimated 17 million followers in the world, making it the third largest Abrahamic religion behind Christianity and Islam. One of Judaism's most important scriptures, the Tanakh, outlines the history of religion from creation of humanity through the 5th century BCE, or before the Christian era. According to Judaism, Abraham is identified as the founding father of the Hebrews, and is from one of Abraham's descendants, Judah, that the religion gets its name. As one of the world's oldest religions in history, Judaism is traced back to the Bronze Age, when it was already an established religion in the Middle East. It goes on about Judaism, right? So the next one is Christianity, of course. Christianity is one of the major Abrahamic religions, one of the most popular religions in the world, with the religion having more than 2.4 billion globally. Now, as persecution and tribulation comes, I think that number will be drastically cut back. It says in the Bible, will the Lord find any faithful when he returns? So I think a lot of those 2.4 billion will fall away from the faith, and we know there is a great falling away coming. About 33% of the world's total population identify themselves as Christians. Certainly those are sunny day Christians, Sunday morning church-going Christians, but maybe don't have a deep faith or are born in Jesus Christ. Let's see. Christianity is primarily based on the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, also known as Jesus Christ, and the 1st century CE Jewish teacher who Christians believe to be the Son of God. Jesus of Nazareth and his followers were originally believers of Judaism, but later split to establish their religion. Christianity gets its name from the name Christ, which translates to Messiah, and hence the term Christians. Means followers of Christ. So that's what you and I are. We're a follower of Christ, and that's a key thing to remember. Being a Christian is not just a name. The most important thing is that you're a follower and you've accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. And remember that the Jews will recognize a Messiah shortly, and that Messiah will turn out to be the Antichrist, and they won't recognize that he's not their Messiah until he causes the abomination of desolation in the third temple. So they will eventually recognize that, we made a mistake. In fact, Jesus, who came 2,000 years ago, was the Messiah. They will turn back and call upon God once again, but it will only be after great persecution and tribulation that occurs. The life of Jesus of Nazareth and his teachings are written in the 4 books known as the canonical Gospels. According to these books, Jesus Christ was born to a virgin woman, Mary, and her husband Joseph, whose lineage goes back to Abraham. All right, so we looked at Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and so on. Christianity was originally practiced by few Jews from Judea, but the popularity of the religion grew after Emperor Constantine I recognized the religion in the 4th century and promoted its growth in the Roman Empire. Christianity is made up of the 3 main denominations, which are Eastern Orthodox Church, the Catholic Church, and Protestants. So you and I think followers of my channel will consider themselves Protestants, generally speaking. Maybe there's some Catholics in there too. But I think that's generally what my audience would be, and you can put your comment in the comments below if you are of another flavor there. Islam is one of the 4 major Abrahamic religions. There are an estimated 1.8 billion people in the world who identify themselves as believers of Islam, known as Muslims, and these account for 24% of the world's total population. So 24%, a quarter of the population of the earth, account for Muslims. Is there any Bible prophecy about a quarter of the people on the planet? I think there is. I think it's one of the seals. I was going to scroll up there now. Let's go see here. The 4th seal, the pale horse. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen here, but interesting. A quarter of the earth was killed. Death and Hades with them. Revelation 6:8 in the middle there. Death and Hades with them. A quarter of the earth killed with sword, famine, death, and beasts. So interesting. Interesting there about that number. It goes on. The term Islam can be translated to mean complete voluntary submission to God. The religion is based on the teaching of the 7th century teacher known as Muhammad, who Muslims refer to as the seal of the prophets. According to early scripts, Muhammad, a resident of Mecca, is said to have received revelations from God, Allah, through angel Gabriel, and the prophet dictated these revelations to his followers, who later wrote them down to form Islam's holy scripture, the Quran. Muslims identify themselves as descendants of Abraham through his son, Ishmael, and also recognize key figures in Judaism and Christianity, such as Moses and Jesus Christ. They recognize Jesus Christ as a good man, as a prophet even, but not God. There are 2 main denominations that make up Islam, and these are Shia Islam and Sunni Islam. So there's a 4th member of the Abrahamic religions, apparently. Baha'i. I don't know if you knew this, but I didn't know this. Baha'i is another Abrahamic religion and is the youngest of the major Abrahamic religions. Baha'i followers in the world are estimated to number about 7 million. Baha'i religion is based on the teachings of its founder, Baha'u'llah, a 19th century preacher from Iran, whose teachings were quite similar to those of other religious leaders in Abrahamic religions and were mainly based on monotheism and the revelation of God through prophets. According to Baha'is, the most recent prophet is Baha'u'llah. The religion is recognized as the 2nd most widespread religion in the world after Christianity and has followers in all geographical regions of the world. Some of the most important texts of Baha'i are personal letters written by Baha'u'llah, and these include Kitab-i-Aqdas and Kitab-i-Iqan. There you go. So hopefully you learned something today about the 4 monotheistic religions, 4 Abrahamic religions. So back up to this chart. This is where it all started. This is where Isaac and Ishmael come to light. This is where the founding fathers, if you will, of the founding father, I guess, Abraham, of the 4 Abrahamic religions came from. And this is who he knew. And of course, there is sin throughout here, which caused a lot of the trouble that we're seeing today, a lot of the division, if not all of the division there. But it's interesting, again, to note that you can calculate back to the beginning of creation, and the fact that Abraham knew Noah, and Noah knew Adam personally, likely personally, would even spoken to him, I would think. and would know what the Garden of Eden was like and what it was like to be in paradise prior to that. Now, prior to the flood, it was still pretty good. But he would have been able to ask Adam about that, and even walking with God. And also we have the glimpse of the rapture out of this. So this is a pretty cool chart, and I suggest you definitely go check it out from Ken Hoven's site. I think it's drdino.org maybe, .com. Anyways, you can Google that and find it, and get it for yourself. Great for your kids. And I'm not getting paid by Ken Hoven. I purchased this myself, but I want to share it with you. Some pretty fascinating things out of the Bible, and you can get all these dates and ages out of Genesis, so pretty amazing stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave it there, and we'll see you in the next video.